candle wax is still warm when he slides the envelope toward me. Not a gift bag. Not a card. A thick white envelope with my name typed on the front. Everyone is watching. The waiter freezes beside our table. Blake's sister Carmen has her phone angled in my direction. His mother Patricia doesn't look surprised, she looks prepared. My husband doesn't say my name, he just says, "I thought this would be cleaner if I did it today." Today, my 28th birthday, Friday night. I open the envelope. The first line hits before I can stop it. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The restaurant hums around us. My ears ring. Someone laughs, softly, then realizes it's me. I smile, not because I'm okay, because something inside me finally goes still. The chaos in my head stops. The hurt freezes into something else. Something colder. Something that sees clearly for the first time in months. Blake expected tears. He expected me to fall apart in front of all these people. He expected me to beg or scream or make a scene that would prove I was everything he'd been telling people I was. Instead, I smile. Because that's when I realized this wasn't meant to hurt me. It was meant to humiliate me. My husband served me divorce papers on my birthday, and I smiled back. That smile would cost him everything he thought he owned. The drive home is silent except for Blake's knuckles cracking against the steering wheel. His family stayed at the restaurant to finish dessert. Nobody asked if I was okay. Nobody questioned the timing. Patricia thanked our waiter for the lovely evening while I sat there holding divorce papers. "You took that well," Blake says as we pull into our driveway. Something in his voice sounds wrong. Disappointed, maybe, or scared. "What did you expect?" "I don't know." More reaction. I look at our house. The yellow door I painted last spring. The roses I planted in summer. The life I thought we were building together. "How long have you been planning this?" I ask. Blake parks, but keeps the engine running. "Ava, we both know this isn't working." "Both of us?" "Don't make this harder than it has to be." He won't look at me, his hands are shaking slightly. This confident man who performed so perfectly in the restaurant is falling apart now that we're alone. "The timing was deliberate," I say. It's not a question. It seemed like the right moment. Wrong answer. The right answer would have been horror at the accusation. The right answer would have been an apology for the coincidence. Blake just admitted he chose my birthday on purpose. I gather the papers and get out of the car. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. While everyone else was busy worrying about how I felt, my husband was busy hiding money. Blake's tablet buzzes on the coffee table while he showers. The screen lights up with a group message and my name catches my eye. The conversation is between Blake, Patricia, and Carmen. "How did she take it?" Patricia wrote 20 minutes ago. "Better than expected," Blake replied. "No scene. Very calm." "That's weird," Carmen added. "Are you sure she doesn't know about the accounts?" My stomach drops. "What accounts?" "She has no idea," Blake wrote back. "Trust me, Ava never paid attention to money stuff." Good. Stick to the timeline. Papers served, check. Next is the quick settlement. Mom's lawyer says if we move fast, she won't have time to get real help. "What about the house?" Blake asked. "Dad already called the bank. They'll refinance under your name only. She'll have to move out by next month." "Perfect. She'll probably go cry to her sister anyway. This is going exactly like we planned." I set the tablet down in the exact same spot. My hands aren't shaking. My heart isn't racing. Instead, I feel that same cold stillness from the restaurant. They think I'm stupid. They think I'm helpless. They planned this whole thing like a business transaction, and they think I'll just disappear quietly. They planned wrong. My sister Nicole drives up from the city Saturday morning with coffee and tissues. She's been crying. I can tell from her red eyes. She thinks this is a tragedy. "I can't believe Blake did this on your birthday," she says, settling onto my couch. "What kind of person chooses that day?" "The kind who wants witnesses," I say. Nicole looks confused. "Witnesses?" To my reaction, or what they hoped would be my reaction. Before she can respond, my phone rings. My mother. Then my aunt. Then my college roommate. The story is spreading fast. Everyone uses the same words. Devastating, shocking, heartbreaking. "Maybe this is for the best," my mother says during our third phone call. "Blake always seemed controlling. You've been so dependent on him." There's that word. Dependent. "Everyone thinks you're gonna fall apart," Nicole says after hanging up with our cousin. "They're worried about you." Why would I fall apart? Because your husband left you. Because you don't work. Because you gave up everything for him. I look at Nicole. She loves me, but she sees me the same way everyone else does. Poor Ava, who quit her job to play house. Sweet Ava, who let Blake handle everything important. Helpless Ava, who can't survive without a man. You'll be fine, Nicole says, squeezing my hand. We'll figure this out together. I smile at her the same way I smiled at Blake, because I will be fine, just not the way she thinks. Blake leaves for work early Monday morning. He kisses my forehead like we're still playing house and says he'll be late. I wait until his card disappears, then go to his home office. The locked drawer takes 30 seconds to open. I've watched him enter the combination enough times. Our wedding date. Inside is a folder marked personal that I've never seen. Bank statements from accounts I didn't know existed. Investment papers with my name removed. Meeting notes with lawyers dating back 6 months. Everything organized, planned, methodical. At the bottom is the most interesting document, a prenuptial agreement. Signed by Blake, never signed by me, never shown to me. According to the lawyer's notes, Blake was supposed to get my signature before the wedding, but forgot and decided to handle it later. Later became a problem. Without my signature, the prenup is worthless. Without the prenup, I'm entitled to half of everything, including Blake's business, including his investments, including this house they think they can take from me. I photograph every document with my phone, then put everything back exactly where I found it. Blake thinks I'm too stupid to understand legal papers. His family thinks I'm too weak to fight back. They're about to learn they were wrong about everything. When Blake comes home that night, I'm cooking his favorite dinner. Steak, mashed potatoes, green beans. I even opened wine from his collection. "This is nice," he says, loosening his tie. "I thought you might be upset." "Why would I be upset?" He studies my face carefully. "The papers, Ava? The divorce?" "Oh, that." I hand him wine. "I've been thinking about what you said, about us not working. Maybe you're right." Blake takes the glass but doesn't drink. "You're being very calm about this. What did you expect? Drama?" "I guess I expected more questions, more emotion." I turn back to the stove, stirring the green beans. "I called a lawyer today." "You did?" His voice gets sharp. "Just to understand how these things work." He explained community property laws, asset division, all that boring legal stuff. I glance over my shoulder. Apparently California is very fair to both spouses. Blake sets his wine down hard. "What exactly did he say?" "That everything we earn during marriage gets split equally, unless there's a prenup." I smile sweetly. Good thing we never did one of those, right? The color drains from Blake's face. He tries to hide it by drinking his wine, but his hand is shaking. "Right," he says slowly. "Good thing." We eat dinner in silence. Blake keeps staring at me like he's seeing a stranger. The lawyer's office smells like leather and old coffee. Jonathan Miller has kind eyes behind wire glasses and 20 years of divorce experience. Blake recommended him, which should have been my first warning. "Mrs. Patterson," he says, reviewing papers at his desk. "This should be straightforward. Your husband mentioned some concerns about the division." "Concerns? Well, given your situation," he pauses carefully. "He said you've been struggling with depression, having trouble managing household responsibilities." I stare at him. "He said I was depressed?" "He expressed worry about your mental state, your ability to handle financial decisions." Miller's voice is gentle, concerned. "These are delicate matters, Mrs. Patterson. No judgment." "What else did he say?" Miller hesitates. Then he says something that changes everything. "He mentioned you'd be happier in a smaller living situation. Something more manageable for someone in your condition." The word manageable hangs between us. Blake didn't just plan to divorce me. He planned to destroy me. To paint me as crazy, incompetent, someone who needs to be managed instead of treated as an equal. "Mr. Miller," I say quietly, "I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not here to be managed. I'm here to understand my rights." Something shifts in his expression. For the first time, he really looks at me. "Perhaps we should start over," he says. "I'm supposed to be at book club, but it was canceled." I come home to find Blake's car in the driveway along with Patricia's Mercedes and Carmen's BMW. Their voices carry through the kitchen window as I walk up the side path. "She met with Miller," Blake is saying. "He called afterward." "What did she say?" Patricia's voice is sharp. She asked about community property, about her rights to the business. Shit, Carmen mutters. I told you she wasn't as clueless as she looks. She's not clueless, Blake says. I never said she was, I said she was trusting. Same thing, Patricia snaps. Did Miller explain the situation? He tried, but she didn't react like we expected. She just sat there taking notes. Notes? Carmen's voice pitches higher. What kind of notes? I don't know. Miller said she seemed very focused. Long pause. Then Patricia speaks, her voice dangerous. Blake, if she fights this, if she gets a real lawyer, this could get very messy. She won't fight, Blake says. Ava doesn't have it in her. You better hope you're right, Carmen says, because if she finds out about the prenup situation, if she realizes what she's actually entitled to, we're screwed. I stand frozen by my own kitchen window, listening to my husband and his family discuss me like I'm a problem to solve instead of a person to respect. They have no idea I'm already solving myself. Carmen posts the birthday video Tuesday night. 47 seconds of my public humiliation, edited perfectly, to show Blake handing me papers and my calm reaction. Her caption reads, "Sometimes the kindest thing is letting someone go. Proud of my brother for choosing honesty over conflict. # new beginnings, mature divorce, no regrets." The comments start immediately. Wait, he served divorce papers at her birthday dinner? In public? With family watching? That's cruel. She looks so calm, I would have thrown the cake. This feels staged, like they planned it. By Wednesday morning, the video has 300 shares. By Thursday, 2,000. The comments get worse. Blake Patterson is garbage for this. Patricia Patterson raised a coward. That poor woman handled this with more grace than he deserved. Someone creates a meme. Divorce papers with the caption, "Nothing says happy birthday like public humiliation." Carmen deletes the video Friday morning, but screenshots are everywhere. The story is spreading beyond their control. Blake is furious. Patricia is livid. They blame Carmen for posting it, but they're really angry about something else. The narrative is getting away from them. People aren't seeing sweet Blake protecting himself from difficult Ava. They're seeing a cruel family destroying an innocent woman. The truth is starting to win. You have a degree in accounting, Jonathan Miller says, reading from my file. Graduated magna cum laude from UC Berkeley. Worked for Stewart & Associates for 3 years before marriage. Yes. Why didn't you mention this before? You didn't ask. You assumed I was a housewife. Miller looks uncomfortable. Your husband said you'd been out of work since the wedding. That's true. Blake asked me to quit when we married. Said his wife shouldn't have to work. I pause. Said he wanted to take care of me. But you maintained your CPA license? Renewed every year, kept up with continuing education. Blake thought I was taking cooking classes. Miller sets down his pen. Mrs. Patterson, do you understand what this means? I do understand. It means I'm not helpless. It means I can support myself. It means Blake's story about my inability to manage is about to collapse. It means I can review all financial documents myself, I say. Would you like me to request complete business records? Tax returns? Investment accounts? Yes. And Mr. Miller? I want Blake's business emails too. On what grounds? I smile. Hiding marital assets? Moving money to avoid community property laws. Miller stares. Can you prove that? I already have, but the emails will show intent. The money moves Friday afternoon while Blake thinks I'm shopping. Instead, I'm sitting outside his office building, watching our accounts on my phone. $52,000 transferred from joint savings to Blake's personal checking. $31,000 moved from joint checking to his business account. $18,000 withdrawn from the account holding my inheritance. They think I won't notice until Monday. They think I'll assume it's normal divorce procedure. I drive straight to our bank. Maria, the teller who opened our accounts, looks concerned. Mrs. Patterson, are you aware of today's transfers? I am now. When were these authorized? Maria pulls up records. This afternoon. Mr. Patterson came in with forms. Said you'd discussed closing joint accounts. Did he mention I was supposed to sign anything? He said you'd given verbal permission. But Mrs. Patterson, for transfers this large, we usually require both signatures. Usually? Your husband seemed stressed, said it was urgent for divorce proceedings. Blake was panicking, moving fast to hide money before I could stop him. But he made mistakes. Maria, I need those transfers reversed immediately, and I need documentation showing they were made without my written consent. I can do that right away. Should I call Mr. Patterson? No need, I smile. He'll find out soon enough. The money comes back within an hour, plus documentation of Blake's attempted theft. The house isn't just Blake's. I discover this when I find our original mortgage papers Blake obviously forgot about. I'm listed as co-owner, not just on the loan, but on the deed itself. Blake Patterson and Ava Patterson, husband and wife, as joint tenants. Blake's father co-signed, which explains his confidence about refinancing. But co-signing doesn't make him an owner. The house belongs to Blake and me equally. I call our mortgage company to confirm. Yes, Mrs. Patterson. Any ownership changes require both signatures. Has there been confusion? There has. What if my husband tried to refinance without my consent? Impossible. Both owners must sign any refinance documents. Even with his father as co-signer, the co-signer has no ownership rights. He's only responsible if you default. I thank her and hang up. Then I call a locksmith. When Blake comes home, the locks are changed. I meet him at the door with an envelope. What's this? He asks, confused. Restraining order. You tried to steal our money today. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Blake's face goes white. You can't lock me out of my house. Our house, and the court can. You'll find approved hotels on page 3. I close the door and leave him standing on the porch he has no right to anymore. Blake calls 6 times that night, texts 14 times. Saturday morning, he shows up with Patricia and Carmen. Ava, he calls through the door. We need to talk. Talk to my lawyer. Don't be childish. Open the door. I crack it open, but leave the chain engaged. What do you want? I want to know what you think you're doing. Protecting my assets, like you've been doing for months. Patricia steps forward. Ava, dear, this is all a misunderstanding. By stealing my money? By organizing finances, Carmen says. You never cared about money before. You're right, I trusted my husband to be honest. My mistake. Blake pushes against the door. Why aren't you fighting fair? The question is so ridiculous I almost laugh. Fair? You served me divorce papers on my birthday in public. You tried to move our money. You told your lawyer I was mentally unstable. And you want fair? I never said you were unstable. You said I was depressed, said I couldn't handle finances, said I'd be happier someplace manageable. I look at all 3 faces. You tried to paint me as incompetent so you could steal everything. Blake's anger cracks into panic. Ava, please, let's work this out like adults. Adults use lawyers, I say, and close the door. They stand on the porch for 10 more minutes before giving up. The family meeting happens Sunday at Patricia's house. I find out Monday when Nicole calls. Blake's mother invited me for coffee, she says. She wanted to talk about you. What did she say? That you were being unreasonable, that Blake wanted a clean divorce, and you were making it complicated. Nicole pauses. She offered to pay your apartment deposit if you'd be more cooperative. She tried to bribe you. She called it family assistance. She also said things about your mental health, about you being fragile. I sit down hard. Fragile how? She mentioned when Dad died, when you took that semester off college, said you'd had problems since then. They're using my grief over my father's death as evidence of mental illness, taking the worst moment of my life and twisting it into a weapon. Nicole, did Patricia mention Blake moved $52,000, $31,000, and $18,000 without telling me? Over $100,000 total? Silence. What? Or that he's been planning this divorce for months, or that he tried to have me declared incompetent? Ava, they're lying to you, to everyone. If you believe them, I need to know now. I don't believe them, Nicole says quietly. I believe you. It's the first time in days someone has chosen my side. It feels like breathing again. While Blake's family plots against me, I plot for myself. Jonathan Miller introduces me to Rebecca Chang, a forensic accountant who finds hidden assets. Your husband has been creative, Rebecca says, spreading papers across Miller's table. Multiple business accounts, investment transfers, even cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency? Opened 8 months ago. Currently holds about 40,000 in Bitcoin. I stare at the documents. He said crypto was a scam. He says a lot of things, Rebecca replies dryly. What's our total for hidden assets? Approximately $260,000, transferred from marital accounts over 8 months. The number hits like ice water. Blake didn't just plan to divorce me, he planned to rob me. Can we get it back? All of it, plus penalties, plus attorney fees. Rebecca smiles, plus interest. Miller takes notes. What about the business? That's interesting, Rebecca says. Blake's been claiming losses to reduce its value, but the losses are fake. The business is actually very profitable. How profitable? Worth about $1.6 million, which means Ava's entitled to $800,000. I lean back in my chair. Blake tried to steal everything, and instead gave me evidence to take half of everything he'd built. One more thing, Rebecca adds. Blake's been paying personal expenses through the business. That's tax fraud. That night, Jonathan Miller called me after dinner. His voice wasn't calm anymore. Ava Blake filed an emergency motion this afternoon. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. He's asking the court to freeze everything. The house, the accounts, even your access to legal funds. For the first time since the restaurant, my stomach dropped. The narrative cracks when friends start asking real questions. Not what did you do wrong, but what did he do? Samantha calls first. Ave, I saw that video. The birthday thing was messed up. Thanks for saying that. Who serves divorce papers as a birthday gift? And why is everyone acting like you're the problem? Samantha works in communications. She understands how stories get controlled. Someone's been managing this narrative, she continues, making Blake look like the victim and you look crazy. But people are starting to ask questions. She's right. The comments on Carmen's deleted video were brutal. People saw through the performance. What really happened? Samantha asks. I tell her. Not everything, but enough. The hidden money, the lies to lawyers, the attempts to paint me as mentally unfit. Jesus, she breathes. Have you told people this? I'm telling you. No, I mean everyone. Your friends, his friends, people who think you're just being dramatic. I hadn't thought about fighting the social war while fighting the legal one. Samantha, would you help me tell the truth? Honey, I thought you'd never ask. By Wednesday, the real story is spreading. Blake's friends start distancing themselves. His business colleagues ask uncomfortable questions. The narrative he controlled for months collapses in days. Truth spreads faster than lies when people finally hear it. Blake's settlement offer arrives Thursday morning. 5 pages of insults disguised as legal terms. He offers me $250,000 and 6 months to find suitable housing. I would give up all claims to his business, investments, and retirement accounts. He keeps the house, both cars, and all marital assets. In exchange, I sign a non-disclosure agreement preventing me from discussing our marriage with anyone. Miller reads it twice, then looks at me over his glasses. This is actually helpful. How? It proves he knows he's guilty. Otherwise, why buy your silence? What's my counteroffer? Miller smiles. California community property law. Half of everything, including hidden assets. What about the NDA? I think about Blake's panic, his family's lies, their attempts to control the story. Tell him I'll consider it, I say slowly, for an additional $300,000. Miller laughs. You want him to pay you $300,000 for the right to keep quiet about how he tried to steal from you? Exactly. He'll never agree. I know, but the offer will tell him everything he needs to know about who he's really fighting. Blake thought I was weak. His family thought I was stupid. The offer will show them I'm neither. The emails are devastating. Rebecca's court-ordered examination uncovers 2 years of correspondence showing exactly who Blake really is. Email to his accountant 18 months ago. Need to start moving assets before things get ugly. Ava's getting suspicious about business finances. Email to his lawyer 8 months ago. She's smarter than she looks. Need to be careful about timeline. Maybe document some mental health concerns. Email to his father 5 months ago. The prenup thing will be a problem. Should have forced it before the wedding. Need another strategy. But the worst one is to Carmen 10 weeks ago. Birthday dinner is perfect timing. Public, embarrassing, lots of witnesses. She'll be too humiliated to fight hard. I read that twice before handing it back to Miller. They planned the birthday humiliation, I say. They planned everything. The public service, the mental health claims, the quick settlement. Miller is angry. This is conspiracy. What can we do? Everything. These emails prove intent to defraud, defame, and steal marital assets. He pauses. They prove Blake lied under oath in his original filing. How? He swore recent problems developed naturally. These emails show he's been planning this for 2 years. Blake didn't just document his crimes, he documented his cruelty. Every calculated move to destroy me is preserved in writing. The birthday question comes up during Blake's deposition. Miller spends 2 hours establishing timeline and motivation before asking the crucial question. Why did you choose your wife's birthday to serve divorce papers? Blake's lawyer objects, but the judge allows it. I didn't choose it specifically, Blake says. It was just when everything came together. Everything? The papers being ready, my family being available. Miller slides an email across the table. Is this your email address? Yes. Did you write this message to your sister? Blake looks at the paper. His face goes pale. Please read the highlighted portion aloud. Blake's voice is barely audible. Birthday dinner is perfect timing. Public, embarrassing, lots of witnesses. She'll be too humiliated to fight hard. The court reporter's keys click rapidly. Blake's lawyer scribbles notes frantically. I sit perfectly still, watching my husband realize his own words are destroying him. Mr. Patterson, when you wrote your wife would be too humiliated to fight hard, what did you mean? I don't remember writing this. But you remember serving her papers on her birthday in a restaurant? Yes. You remember your family filming it? Blake looks desperately at his lawyer. No help comes. Were you trying to humiliate your wife? No. Then why did you call it embarrassing in your own email? Blake can't answer, because there's no good answer except admitting he's cruel. The case shifts after Blake's deposition. His lawyer requests immediate settlement talks. Judge Rodriguez mediates with 30 years of experience and 0 patience. Mr. Patterson, she says, reviewing evidence, your client faces serious consequences. Financial fraud, perjury, emotional distress claims. We're beyond divorce court now. Blake's attorney, Thomas Wright, looks uncomfortable. Your Honor, my client was protecting business interests during a difficult time. By hiding assets, by lying under oath, by deliberately humiliating his wife. Judge Rodriguez stares at him. By documenting his cruel intentions in writing, Wright has no response. What are you seeking? The judge asks Miller. Full community property plus damages, approximately $1.4 million. Mr. Patterson's ability to pay? Rebecca opens her laptop. The business alone is worth $1.6 million, plus investments, retirement accounts, and recovered hidden assets. Blake speaks for the first time. I don't have $1.4 million. You do, Rebecca replies calmly. You've just been hiding it. Judge Rodriguez looks at Blake. You can settle today for what your wife legally deserves, or go to trial where she'll likely get significantly more in punitive damages. Blake finally understood he wasn't negotiating anymore. He was being liquidated. What if I can't pay? Blake asked. Asset seizure, wage garnishment, business liquidation, Miller says. California doesn't negotiate with financial fraud. Wright whispers urgently to Blake for 15 minutes. Finally, Blake nods. We'll settle, Wright says. The war is over. I've won. Blake's family destroys itself before the settlement ink dries. The fighting starts when Blake tells his parents he'll have to liquidate everything to pay me. Patricia blames Carmen for the video. Carmen blames Patricia for rushing the timeline. Both blame Blake for getting caught. He said she was stupid. Carmen screams during a family dinner that ends with thrown plates. I said she was trusting. Blake shoots back. You wanted to humiliate her publicly. That was Mom's idea. Patricia is furious. Blake documented everything. Email is forever, you idiot. How could you be so careless? Blake's father is angry about losing the business that was supposed to stay in the family forever. Within a month, Blake is living in a studio apartment working for strangers. Carmen moves to Seattle to start fresh after her firm loses clients. Patricia enters therapy for public humiliation. The united family that tried to destroy me falls apart, trying to survive the consequences. I feel sorry for them for exactly 30 seconds. Then I remember the birthday dinner and the feeling passes. I sign last, reading every line twice. The settlement agreement is thick, detailed, and devastating to Blake's future. I receive the house plus $950,000 in cash and assets. Blake keeps his retirement funds and his debts. The business will be sold within 60 days. Blake also pays my attorney fees, accounting costs, and therapy expenses. Total judgment, just over $1.4 million. I sign my name carefully, the same pen I used to sign our marriage certificate, but this time, I know exactly what I'm agreeing to. Miller hands me a check for the immediate portion, $350,000 for moving expenses and immediate needs. The rest comes as assets liquidate. How do you feel? He asks. 3 months ago, I was served divorce papers on my birthday. Humiliated, betrayed, systematically robbed by the person who promised to love me. Now I'm financially independent, legally vindicated, and completely free. I feel like smiling, I tell him. And I do. The same smile I gave Blake that first night, the smile that confused him for months. But now I know what it meant. It meant I was stronger than he could imagine. It meant I would survive his worst intentions and come out winning. It meant I was already free, even when he thought I was trapped. The final hearing is ceremony. Blake sits at the defendant table looking hollow. His expensive suit hangs loose. He's lost weight, lost confidence, lost everything he tried to protect. Judge Williams reviews our settlement and the evidence. She looks at Blake with disgust. Mr. Patterson, in 25 years on this bench, I've rarely seen such calculated cruelty. Her voice is stern. You didn't just break marriage vows, you betrayed basic human decency. Blake mumbles something about being sorry. You're not sorry you did it, the judge continues. You're sorry you got caught. She turns to me. Mrs. Patterson, anything to add? I think about everything I could say. The planning, the lies, the cruelty, the birthday dinner and the attempts to paint me as crazy, the theft and the conspiracy. But I only have one thing to say. I'm grateful. If Blake hadn't served me those papers, I never would have discovered who he really was. I looked directly at him. He thought he was ending my life. Instead, he gave me the chance to start a new one. Judge Williams smiles slightly. Divorce granted, settlement stands. Blake stands to leave, but I stop him. Blake, do you remember what you expected me to do that night? He looks at me with empty eyes. Cry. You expected me to fall apart, to beg, to make stealing from me easy. Ava, I smiled instead. Do you know why? He shakes his head. Because even then, I knew something you didn't. You'd underestimated me, and that was going to cost you everything. Blake loses more than money. He loses reputation, connections, standing. Word spreads through our community about financial fraud and birthday humiliation. Nobody wants to work with someone who steals from his own wife. His family loses unity and influence. Patricia withdraws from charity boards after the scandal. Carmen's business never recovers. Blake's father settles disputes that arise when Blake's troubles become public. The real justice is personal. Blake explains to future girlfriends why his ex-wife got everything. He lives in a studio after owning a house. He rebuilds his career at 43 because his reputation is destroyed. Every job application requires disclosing legal judgments. Every background check reveals fraud. Every mutual friend knows the truth. Meanwhile, I buy a house with a better kitchen and gardens where I grow what I want. I start my own practice helping women protect assets during divorce. I take vacations Blake said we couldn't afford. I buy a car in my favorite color instead of his. I live alone and love it. People ask if I'm dating. I tell them I'm too busy being happy to look for someone to share it with. Mostly, I'm at peace. The kind that comes from surviving someone's worst intentions and emerging stronger. The kind that comes from knowing you smiled when they expected you to break. Today is my birthday. 29 years old, exactly 1 year since Blake handed me papers in front of strangers. I'm celebrating differently. Small gathering of real friends who supported me instead of trying to make me surrender. We're at my new house, the one Blake will never see. The cake is chocolate like last year, but when I blow out candles, I'm making wishes for myself instead of trying to please someone else. Nicole asks what I wished for. Tell her the truth. Nothing. I already have everything I want. Later, alone on my back porch with wine, I think about the woman I was a year ago. The woman who smiled when her husband tried to destroy her. The woman who knew, even then, that she was stronger than anyone realized. I think about Blake, probably alone in his studio apartment, wondering how it went so wrong. I think about his family, scattered and bitter, still blaming each other for their destruction. I think about the life I almost lost and the life I gained instead. My phone buzzes with birthday messages. Friends, family, colleagues, clients, people who see me as I actually am. I smile reading them. The same smile that started this story. If he hadn't handed me those papers in front of everyone, I might never have learned how powerful silence can be. But now I have a question for you. If someone handed you divorce papers on your birthday, tried to humiliate you publicly, conspired to steal everything you'd worked for, would you have cried or would you have smiled back too?